and today I just want to talk about holding that space for those that are grieving. It's a topic that not many people talk about, and I don't think a lot of people feel qualified to talk about it. But COVID has been such a great equalizer throughout the world. Like, I don't think there's any one of us on this planet Earth that hasn't lost somebody to COVID. There's like no school out there that teaches you how to deal with grieving people. And I just wanted to put this video out there because maybe it might help you in some way. Uh, so I personally lost my brother, my mom, and my dad very close. I was very close to them. And so when you have never lost anybody, I used to attend funerals. And one of the things at the funeral was to see the body in the casket, and then you pay your condolences, and then you shake their hand and you say, I'm so sorry for your loss. That's what we were taught growing up. And then when I had lost my twin brother at the age of 22, I was now on the other side. He was the very identity of who I was. Now, for all of you people out there that are not a twin, I feel sorry for you. Being a twin meant that I was extra special in the world. And losing him meant that I lost my identity of who I was. And that was really, really sad. So I couldn't, at that point in time, even understand what these people were saying. So sometimes when we see people grieving, it's almost like a plaster that we put on, and we just want to. So when somebody is grieving, it's like a huge gaping hole. Like, just imagine somebody took a gun and just shot like a huge cannonball through somebody's tummy area, and there's like this huge hole with intestine all missing. And then you go up to the person and you say to them, God's got a plan, be strong. And you put this measly little plaster over and you walk away. Because that inadvertently, that's what it is. Every time we say somebody, God's got a plan or he's got a purpose for you, and you put this little plaster on thinking, you know what? But the person is gushing out, they are bleeding out, right? So there's a lot of people in this world that are hurting really, really badly. And us saying these small little cliche lines don't help them. It didn't help me at all, right? So I just wanted to put this video out to help you, to help people. And that's all this video is. And if you can get something, one thing out of it, then I'm truly blessed to have had this opportunity to do this video for you. So one of the things you need to do is, when you are holding that space for somebody that's grieving, is firstly to realize that that is not, if it's like, just say if my husband has lost his father, for me to realize that is not my father, that is his father. So the way he would grieve for his father would be totally different to the way I'm grieving for my father-in-law. So for me to hold that space for him, and firstly to realize that's his grief, and I'm grieving in my own way, but his grief might be more than mine. So holding that space for somebody. The second way is just to listen. During this festive season, there's so many people that are so lonely out there. They have lost their husband, they have lost somebody that was very dear to them, their wife, somebody that they could talk to, somebody they woke up with, somebody they went to bed with, and that person is no longer there. Just to call them up, just call them up and say, hey, I just called to say hello. How are you doing? If you're on lockdown levels at the moment, it won't be possible for you to have them over, but just to hear them and just to say, you know what, I'm also missing so-and-so, and she meant a lot to me, or he meant a lot to me. And then just to give them that moment where you get to keep quiet and give them that moment just to talk. Because sometimes people just need to talk. They just need somebody to talk to. They just need somebody to pick up that phone and say, hey, I called, I'm just checking up on you. Are you okay? Can I get you anything? You know? Did you have something to eat? And maybe just later, if it's possible for you to maybe just take a meal over or take something over, when you're checking up on them. Because on days like this, nobody really wants to go out and prepare anything. They just want to be by themselves. They just want this day to be over and done with. And then also, when they talk, just listen. You don't have to have all the words. Sometimes we think when we are comforting somebody, we need to have all the words to comfort them. We need to know what the right thing to say is. Sometimes just being a good listener is all they need. I know I lost an uncle that was very dear to me. So I called my aunt up and I spoke to her, and I just began to talk about him and what a wonderful person he was and how he really impacted my life. And she just got to rejoice in that moment. She just got to enjoy that moment and say, yes, he was so and so, and he was this type of person. And yes, and I'm so glad he impacted your life in this way. And recently, I just went for a walk with my kids, and I bumped into a family friend, and she was talking about my late twin brother. It's now close to 23 years for him that he had passed on. And we were just saying, it just seemed like yesterday, that we had just lost him. But he was like such a big part of our lives. So also just giving them that space and allowing them to be in that space. And so my advice to you is, if you ever gonna be talking to somebody that have lost somebody through COVID, a lot of them tend to blame themselves as well, especially if they were the ones that were the first to come down with the virus or to be infected, and then they somehow infected their spouse or their sibling or whatever. And then there's a lot of things, there's a lot of issues or narratives in their head where they're going through what's called survivor guilt. Like, why did I love? Why did that person have to die? So just for you to let them know that they did everything that was humanly possible at that time. And that's all you can ever ask from somebody. Like my brother, I had a part-time job, and my dad had rushed him off to the hospital because he had an asthmatic attack, and he died under very tragic circumstances. He died on the ER bed in my dad's arms while my mom was running to open his report. And for years, I was like, I should have just ran a little bit faster for that chart. I should have been with him the whole day. But nobody knew how that day was going to turn out. And I'd like to think that he was at peace with that, knowing that they did their best. And that's all we can ever ask of somebody, is that if somebody is sick at home and that person is insistent in saying, I'm fine, I don't need to go to the doctor, and they somehow get worse within a few hours and pass on, we did our best knowing what we knew about that situation. If we knew any more, then we could have done differently. But these are really, really sore narratives and stories that people are having in their minds, like, I am to blame for so and so. And the worst thing that you could possibly do to somebody during this time is to blame them for somebody's death. He used to say that, why did you have to go to the X, Y, and Z? Because you brought the virus and this person has died because of you. That is like so inhumane to do, because themselves for this, and then you go and add to this and you say, how did they get it? Oh, you got it first and then you gave it. And it just, it just doesn't leave that person in a good place. So if you were to comfort somebody this Christmas or over the festive season or on special holidays, just remember to leave them in a better place and give them that opportunity to talk. And sometimes that's all people really need. They just need somebody to listen to them. They just need to feel heard. And if you can do that, you'll be making a difference in so many hearts and in so many lives.